Today we're going to add mixed numbers, and I'd like to start with an example where the denominators are the same, and then I'd like to move on to an example where the denominators are unlike, they are different. And so let's start with our equation. We've got 2 and 3/4 as our first addend, and then 1 and 3/4 added to that. So we always start with the fractions first, so we'll take our 3/4 plus our 3/4. Okay, the denominator stays the same, and we add across the top 3 plus 3, which gives us 6. Now we know that this is an improper fraction, and in order to turn it into a mixed number, I must use the division operation. I know that 4 can go into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4, subtract, bring down, and I end up with a mixed number of 1 and 2/4. 1 being my whole number, 2 is the numerator, it's the part that's left over in my 4, my denominator stays the same. So 6/4 is equal to 1 and 2/4. Now I need to add my whole numbers, 2 plus 1, which gives me 3. And I will take my whole number that I came up with, which was 3, and I will take my 1 and 2/4, and I need to combine these now because that was my sum of the smaller fractions. I know that 3 plus 1 is 4, and 2/4. There are no other fractions to add to that. If I was going to simplify, we know that this would be equal to 4 and 1/2. Okay. So let's take a look at another example where we can have denominators that are different before we are adding. So let's go ahead and do 4 and 3/4 plus 2 and 2/3. Okay, I still would like to start with my fractions, 3/4 plus 2/3, but I know that the denominators are not the same. So I'm going to need to make them the same before I can add them. So my denominators currently are 4 and a 3. So let's find some multiples of 4 and 3 and see if we can pick a denominator that they would have in common. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and let's do some for 3. I'm skip counting 3, 6, 9, and 12. So it looks like I'm going to be able to use 12. If you would like another way for finding a common denominator, you can just take your denominator of 4 and multiply it by 3 and come up with 12, which you can also use. Now, 12 is the least common denominator, so if you're looking to list out your multiples, that would be the best at finding the least. But if you would like to just multiply the denominators together, that might give you a bigger denominator and end up where you would need to simplify, and that's okay. So we will go with 12 on this one. So I'm going to give myself some space down here. So we know that we're going to need to change 3/4 into something out of 12, and also 2/3 into something out of 12. So let's go 3/4 equal to something out of 12. We are going to split each of those 4 pieces into 3 to get 12, and whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator, so that gives me 9/12. And then my 2/3 is equal to something out of 12. I'm splitting the 3 into 4 pieces, and I must do the same on the top, and that gives me 8/12. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the old fractions here with the new ones that I have found, and then I can add. So 9/12, and then I know that 2/3 was equal to 8/12. All right, let's give ourselves a little bit more space. So we're going to follow the same process as we did before. We've got 9/12 plus 8/12. My denominator stays the same. I know that 9 plus 8 is 17. This is an improper fraction, and so I know that I will use division in order to find a mixed number. 12 can go into 17 once. 1 times 12 is 12. And I end up with my mixed number of 1 and 5/12. So all of that work, just those fractions, gave me 1 and 5/12. And now I know that I need to finish by adding the whole numbers. 4 plus 2, which gives me 6. And I need to combine my two sums together. So 6 plus 1 and 5/12. And that gives me a total sum of 7 and 5/12. And that's it.